Hello, I would welcome you students to enroll in this class. I think this would be a very useful class for you to look at. But perhaps you're wondering, well, who am I? Well, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Mike Hutjens. I am located at the University of Illinois, where I have been a teacher and extension worker for over 44 years. Perhaps you might want to know, well, how did I get started in this? Well, I grew up on a dairy farm near Green Bay, Wisconsin. We had 70 Holstein cows. They were grade cows. And my dad was a third generation farmer on that facility. So growing up on a dairy farm, I learned a lot of important things. Hard work. You don't quit until the day is done. Everything has to be done. I was in 4-H. That's a youth organization for 10 years. And then as a member of the Future Farmers of America, which is a high school group for 4 years as well. After completing high school in 1963, I went to the University of Wisconsin in Madison, Wisconsin, and worked on a Bachelor of Science degree and received a degree in agriculture in 1967. At that point, I was fortunate to graduate number first in the class in the College of Agriculture and had an opportunity to go to graduate school. And I elected to stay at the University of Wisconsin, primarily because it left me closer to home. And they had a wonderful faculty, just an excellent faculty. So I earned my master's degree at the University of Wisconsin in 2 years. And that degree involved mastitis detection. In fact, I measured the DNA content in milk, which correlated very highly to the number of somatic cells that are in the milk. And so it was a great research tool. It was used by some farmers and DHI centers in the Midwest, but it got very expensive because we could not get it to be mechanized very easily. After getting my master's degree in 1969, I then went on to the PhD program at the University of Wisconsin, but changed emphasis. And I went to nutrition and feeding. So I studied milk fat depression and looking at the impacts of particle size, raw soybeans, methionine hydroxy analog, some of these additives, to what effect it would have on milk fat test, and graduated in 1971. Some of you will say, gee, that was pretty fast, but remember, I did all my work in Wisconsin. And so all my classes as undergraduates would carry over, in some cases, to the graduate program. Now, this program is not a cheap program. In today's dollars right now, if you come as an undergraduate to the University of Illinois, that will cost you $22,000. Room, board, tuition, books, enrollment, the whole thing. So today, that would cost you just short of $100,000 to get an undergraduate degree and to take these classes that hopefully we can offer some of this information online today. I then went on and worked at the University of Minnesota for 8 years, from 1971 to 1979, primarily as a extension dairy specialist. And we would hold typically about 180 meetings a year around the state and in the United States on various phases of dairy nutrition and dairy management. I then also coached the judging team the last 3 or 4 years while I was on faculty there due to an untimely death of a co-worker of mine. And I was one of the few faculty that actually judged dairy cattle in 4-H and then also in college as far as that goes. Then in 1979, I had an opportunity to go to the University of Illinois and to lead their dairy extension program. At that time, there was 4 of us involved in this. They also had a DHI center there, so we had our own dairy milk processing records as well. And so I stayed there in terms of to complete my career and ended up having 32 years actual on faculty, and now another 10 years as professor emeritus, which means I still contribute to the program, still do some writing, still do some teaching. So you can see this is a very high investment. We had our challenges as we went along. First of all, I joined Alpha Gamma Rho, which was an agriculture fraternity, and that had a huge impact on my career and in my college life. After I got my master's degree, I then joined the U.S. Army Reserve and served for 6 years in the Army Reserve. And that just added a little bit more stress in terms of that military commitment And just at that stage in the U.S., almost all young men had some role in the Army or in the armed services as far as that goes. Interestingly, we got married after after getting my master's degree, and before I graduated with my PhD, I did have a child. I had my first son, and living on a graduate stipend is really tight living. And so another challenge is once I got my master's degree, came back from the Army, then I asked, do I really want to go on for a PhD, or do I want to go and get a job, support my family? Boom, higher level of income and life as far as that goes. And I talked to several people, and they all told me, go get your degree now. And that's why some of you are going to take this class. You're saying, I just need more information. I need more background as far as that goes. One of the real blessings I had, both at the University of Minnesota and the University of Wisconsin and Illinois, was faculty. Wonderful faculty that when I got stuck, especially when I started to work at Minnesota and Illinois, somebody could go to and ask, well, why would a cow do that? Now, a lot of my training, they didn't tell me exactly why cows ate less feed, but they would tell me, well, how does the biological cycle works? Not many dairy farmers want to know about the Krebs cycle. They want to know what causes my cow to have low butterfat tests, to have a displaced abomasum, to not produce 40 liters of milk, whatever that case is. So one nice thing about this class is that I will provide some of that backup for you. And we will have some live sessions that you can say, Mike, I have this question based on something we had in this class or something that's happening on my farm or with my clientele. So in some respects, I'm kind of your professor. Not only did we have that, we also had graduate students that could really also be a good sounding board. And in some cases, we also would have a number of seminars. And we still do here at the University of Illinois. And I attend them religiously because they will bring the latest information. And hopefully in this class, I will bring to you the latest information on research. We will look at some new research papers as well, but always try to coach it in a very applied message. I call it the take-home message. What can I take and use with my farm, or as a student, or as a consultant, or as a veterinarian? What can I learn? What can I take with me and go there? Unfortunately, when I was in school, we had no online video classes like we have here today. I would have loved to had those video classes because it allows the professor or the instructor to package the material. If I don't understand it, I can go back and play it a second or third time. I can print out the PowerPoints or the slides, if you wish, and take notes as he goes through this. And of course, these will all be translated into your language so you can hear them in your native language as well. We have 20 years of delivering classes online here at the University of Illinois. And so we have used this approach extensively. Typically, we would have 150 to 170 students enrolled in these classes. The cost of enrollment in those classes would vary from $800 to $1,000, depending on the level of enrollment. If you were getting graduate credit, or if you're doing an undergraduate, or if you're a veterinarian, the price varied just a little bit. So I think the online allows you to go to class as often as you want, whenever you want to go. And also it's an opportunity to talk to our staff and myself. If you have unique questions, problems, concerns, and we'll try to answer them as best we can because we plan to be available, ideally once a week, to answer your questions, to share new information, and then also have case studies. And you'll get the case study ahead of class that you can think about, and then we'll discuss, well, what would the answers be? And maybe some of you can participate and some of those answers as well. So hopefully you will find these various weekly modules very educational, very useful, very informative, a way to get your investment back, either by improved performance or as a student to have more general knowledge in dairy nutrition and dairy management. So I encourage you to sign up for the class. I look forward to seeing you in class. And with that, I will say, have a great day.